Hello and welcome to the next episode of PlayEDgaming podcast. My name is Simon and I'm going to be going through everything retro gaming, pure nostalgia, and we're talking about mental health all the way through these episodes. So please stay tuned. Let's get it going. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. If you are brand new to the podcast, I'm going to introduce myself. My name's Simon, but some people call me Ed, and this podcast is going to be based around gaming, nostalgia, reselling, and the journey that has come with it so far. All of the ups and downs and everything in between. So far on the podcast, we'll just have a little recap. We have talked about how gaming started for me, my childhood memories with gaming, where my name actually came from, which was due to me having a flatter head, and just playing football with two Simons on my team. And the more recent episodes, one was about mental health and how to be resilient, and the last episode was how modern gaming has been affected and influenced by retro gaming. So the natural next step feels like it should be about this. So I'm going to be talking about how I actually got into reselling games, how PlayEDgaming was started, and what it's actually been like since I started this. So it's not going to be, oh, this is what you should do. It's not a advice podcast because I'm still learning. I haven't made it. I'm still going. I'm still building, still starting. And to be honest, I will be starting again. You say what? Starting again? Yeah, I'm going to have to be starting my reselling journey again, which I'm going to be going into more detail about. But if you are already reselling, you'll probably, we'll get my words out, recognize this and go, oh yeah, I've done that. Oh yeah, I need to do that. Or, yeah, I feel like doing that. But if you're thinking about starting, hopefully this gives you a realistic picture of what it's actually like to be a reseller. I've only been doing this for just over a year and it's brilliant. However, there has been many ups and downs. As I've said before, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of things that I would do completely differently. And we're going to go into that later on in the show. So the first things first, we are going to be saying what I did before reselling. So before I even picked up a game to sell, I used to game. I still game. I used to, as I've said before, play my Mega Drive, Super Nintendo. And as I got older, I kind of went away from the retro gaming side of it and just kind of stuck with modern gaming. I had Xbox 360 when it came out, even though it's ancient now. Then moved on to the Xbox One. And then moved on to the Series S. Ideally, I would have liked an Xbox X, but at the time, I couldn't afford it. So the cheaper option was to get a Series S, so me and my son could both play it. And yes, I know you have to pay extra for all of this, that, and the other. And Games Pass and everything, it all adds up, and you might as well have just got a Series X. But convenience for if my son wants to play a game on the Xbox, then it's just easy for him to log on to the Games Pass and just click and play. It was so much easier for us as a family rather than having all of the games stacked up, because as a growing family, I don't have space for a collection. I really don't. We've taken on 2 foster children in the last 18 months altogether, and to be honest, the space was needed for them. My shed in the garden that wasn't meant to be my shed, it was going to be converted to a summer house, has now turned into the selling and storage area for the business. So, I digress. When I was starting reselling, I literally, I just started watching whatnot because I was looking for some Hot Wheels cars for my son, because he collects Hot Wheels cars, Minecraft Lego, and lots of other little tiny things. So I went on there, saw that, watched a couple of streams and thought, oh, this looks a bit of fun. And I thought, I know a bit about gaming. I could go into that. I used to play games. I still play games. So I thought it was a bit easier for me to get into. But I didn't look at them as stock as such. I was buying things that I had memories with, like Mario Kart on the N64, Diddy Kong, Donkey Kong, GoldenEye. All of these games that I was like, I can sell these because I know about them. So that's how I kind of got into it. I didn't see them as, oh, here's that, it's going to make me X amount of money. Because when I first started, I didn't know the value of games. I did not have a clue. If I'm truthfully honest, didn't have a clue. And I'm still learning now. Yes, sometimes I am one of those people that scans games when I'm out. Just because last year in the summer at a staff party, I got jumped. and I smashed my head on the concrete. And since then, I have had memory loss and have had quite a bit of trauma based around that. So my memory, if I'm being truthfully honest, is shot to shit. Sorry about the language if there's any children listening, but it is an adult stream. Not a stream, it's a podcast. And I just really can't remember things. So a price of a game that was out 25, 30 years ago, I'm not going to remember what I looked at last week, let alone what it's going to be valued at now. So what I did look at when I was buying them, though, was how complete they were. Because I know, obviously, if you're a collector, you're not just going to buy a cart only. Most of you, anyway. I know some people that do collect cart only, but I thought, and if I was a collector, this is what I would look for. I'd care about the box art, the manual, the condition of both of them. And if they're in shit condition, well, then it'll be a lot lower price. And if you're a reseller, you try and get the most profit you can get. And sometimes that means you've got to pay up a little bit more because of the condition of that item that you're buying. Also, I know, obviously, we are in the UK. We're not going to be after American, Japanese as much. Yes, I know, once again, there's a lot of collectors that have both, but the big collectors always go for PAL. I always go back to PS1. You're always going to go back for the Black Label PAL collection. You're not going to go for the Platinum. You're not going to go for the Value series. I know some people do. Once again, they are sought after, but not as much as the Black Label PAL. Another thing that would always influence the market is if they are in original cases. So if it's a PS1 and it's not got the PS1 logo in the bottom left-hand corner of the case, the holographic symbol, is pointless. And also, if it hasn't got PlayStation down the spine of it, when you open up the case, pointless. They look good, but it's not official. So I know people that buy these cases off of websites like Temu, AliExpress, and all of this. Yeah, they do a turn. But if you're appealing to a collector, you need to start buying the cases. And these cases you can pick up for anywhere between £3 to £5, decent ones. But if you want a decent condition one, you are looking closer to a £5 for a case, which is absolutely fine if it's going to make you an extra 20 quid on top. And when I first started, I didn't realise that I was actually learning again, because I was working out what was sold quickly. I was doing research, what everyone was after. And if there was a certain game, for example, yes, Manhunt is, everyone wants it, everyone wants to buy it, but lots of people have got it, hence why the price in CEX is £18. Because there's so many copies of it that are there, that also it's not really sought after because it was released in mass production. Manhunt 2, less production, more sought after, price increases. So that's what I was learning as well. I just thought, why is that 300 quid, for example? Like, I'm trying to think like Kuon. I know that's about 600, but why is it that? And I was still learning. And that's what I thoroughly enjoy about doing this, is that every day you're learning new things, what the value of certain things are. So that's where my knowledge came from, sitting down and actually researching. Because with the research, I wasn't just chasing the trends. I wasn't watching TikToks. One, I don't have TikTok. Yes, there is a PlayEDgaming TikTok, but I don't upload to it. I never enjoyed TikTok. That's another day. Social media chat is another day. And I was just involved in the gaming culture. I started talking to people and whatnot, finding out what people like, and just following guidance through other sellers on there. And that's where it all started. It wasn't like, boom, there's a big lightning bolt moment. It was a bit like quiet, and I didn't really know it was going to happen. I started off with some of my old stuff that I didn't want anymore, as well as buying in a big collection from someone local to me through Facebook Marketplace. And I just thought, you know what, let's just see what it's like. Let's try it. What's the worst that could happen? And that's where it came from. So what I did, first thing I did was I did a window shopping stream on Whatnot. So I had all of the items that I was going to be selling over the next couple of days, and it kind of started from there. So I started that. There was not a selling stream. It was just there. So people could look, and then they knew, right, okay, can I see the condition of this, and this? And then they knew the next day they would come back. They knew exactly what they wanted, and they got it. And I did some really good deals. I didn't start some of them at like £1 or £2 because some of the price I paid good money for this bundle, and that was kind of it. Yeah, so I had to kind of make my money back. If I'm being truthfully honest, I had to make the money back because at the start it wasn't about making loads of money. It was just to see how it was, but I didn't want to lose anything because I'd spent about £300-400 on this bundle and I needed to make that money back, just because, well, one, it's quite a lot of money to fork out at one hit when you don't know what it's going to turn over at that point. And after my first show, I was just like, well, how do I send this? What do I do? How do I do it? So I watched videos on YouTube on how to package things properly, if I'm like, just because I'd never done it. And I was learning for quite a while after that on how to actually pack properly. I still had like massive boxes that were too big for some of the items because that's all I had. And I was just like sending it and it was all moving around. And I was ensuring after that, I was asking for feedback. I was doing this. I was asking, did I do this okay? And that's where it all started, because I was getting the feedback that I required and it just kind of started from there. So I asked, any other tips, guys, on what to do? And then I was like, right, I would not be happy if it didn't turn up the way I wanted. So then I started again. I was like, right, I need to order boxes. I need to get this. I need to get that. And then it started again. And once I got all that sorted, I thought, right, here we go. I can do this a bit more sustainably and better for everyone involved. And that's where it kind of started. So in the beginning, there was no plan. Like I said, it was just, I am going to be selling on whatnot. And then I started listing on eBay, just a couple of bits, household bits. I've been on eBay for years, but never really sold much as such on there. Kind of just like loose bits, buying things. There was no brand, there was no logo, and there was definitely no PlayEDgaming. I was going out sourcing mainly on Facebook Marketplace when I first started, because it was just easier. Because I could sit at home and I could do it, and I could message people and go, right, can I come over tomorrow to do this? And then I started looking in charity shops, and then I thought, right, let's go to a boot fair. Let's go have a look in other shops that sell secondhand goods. And that's what it seems like with every reseller. You tend to go to charity shops, but as we all know, charity shops have increased their prices. And also, even the charity shops on eBay, they have increased their prices, or they do now, which I don't really like, is the live auctions, because people are paying over retail prices and then cancelling. So the people that are actually interested in the item, I've seen a box of cartridges that I'm really interested in on eBay. 3 times it's been relisted because it's all gone over £500 for a box of cartridges. And then they've realised actually they're not going to get it. So they've relisted it again. And I'm hoping that the price of that does go down. But in the beginning, I felt like an absolute genius at some points. I was like, oh, I've picked this up for this and it's made this. And then I realised on some of them, I didn't look at the value of it. I just bought it. And then I realised I've paid, say, £5 for this game when actually it's only worth 10p or £1. Not even that. I wasn't tracking my profit. Didn't start with that. Literally just turned it over, saw the money in my bank, and that was it. Then bought more stuff. I didn't think it was going to be a long-term thing. I thought it'd just been something to do over the summer. I wasn't factoring in how much time it was actually taking up. And the other half, she was, well, you're always on your phone. You're always doing this. And then I realised actually, yeah, it is very time-consuming to do this. So, and that was just resourcing. That wasn't even when you get to take the photos. It wasn't even when you have to write the descriptions. And one thing I have learned from doing all these listings is the photos and the descriptions really do matter. And also being really, really honest with it all, because otherwise you're not going to get sale. And with the sales as well, when they were slow, it was still learning, because I was understanding what was selling well, what wasn't. And that's just how it spiraled into where we are today. But throughout it all, there are many times where I've gone, oh, I really can't be bothered to do this. It's just too much. It's the influence of social media makes it look easy, and all these other resellers do all of this through social media, and you see that they've bought this item and then all of a sudden it's flipped within a day. When in reality is they bought that item 6 months ago and now they're telling you what it's sold for, because that's what social media, you can't trust what you see. You don't know when they bought that item. Yes, the video came out yesterday, but they probably bought it 6 months or even a year ago, and they're just telling you what it's sold for now. So yeah, that's what I found with social media. It's not all hunky-dory and all singing, all dancing. But what you don't see is then when you are reselling is the platform fees. So if you're an eBay business account, there's fees. The postage increases. The returns, if you get them. I've only had a couple of returns so far. A couple of times on Whatnot, I've, hold my hands up, messed up a couple of orders as well. I sent a whole stack of games to the wrong person. So that person managed to get all the games for free with their other games that they bought from me, and the other person ended up with nothing. So I had to refund that person, which they totally understand. It was only my first few streams. I hadn't had that much experience doing it. And then you also get people that just cancel their order after you've bought it, which really does wind you up, because you tell people no cancellations or refunds are accepted, blah, 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 all of this. However, they think they're the high and mighty and then they take over. And another thing that you don't see is, like I said, you don't know how long that item's been sat there. So why hasn't it sold? It's a great game, but the game is so saturated in the market, you can probably pick it up from a charity shop like I did for 10, 15p or 20p or £1, rather than paying the prices that we would have, which would be £2-3, because that's what retail prices, well, the market is selling them at the moment. And then realising it might be a great game, but it might just not be the right time to sell that one. And when you learn that, it doesn't become a casual thing. It's kind of, right, okay, that's not selling at the moment. Let's wait, and then we sell something different. So it's kind of turning into a skill. And if you're learning a new skill, you're going to make mistakes. And I still do. Like I said earlier on, I was chasing what I thought was, this game's so good. And instead of going for what is needed, I was going on what I liked and things as well. So I bought bundles because I thought that one game looked really valuable. And then the rest of them were, if I was going to trade them in to get a voucher to get something better, were only worth 10p, which is not sustainable. Yes, you get a nice voucher, but you only get 50p for 5 games. And I underestimated how much time it would take. For example, doing the testing time and the cleaning time, because I haven't got a disc cleaner. So my cleaning time, I have to drive to my fellow reseller / friend / tall, lanky dickhead. And he lives 45 minutes away from me. So I have to factor that in as well. So that's petrol, that's travel time, and then I have to pay him to use his disc cleaner. So it's time consuming. It makes you absolutely shattered. But like I've come to realise that it's one thing. They're like tuition fees, these mistakes. They sharpen my eye. Every loss made me more disciplined, and that's how you grow, in my own opinion. And with growth, your confidence increased, well, mine did, and I was able to talk a lot more freely. I was able to be a bit more myself on streams, and well, it's led me to being able to actually do this podcast, as well as doing a YouTube channel and all of the other things that are with PlayEDgaming at the moment. And there is big plans for the future, but that is also for another stream, which I'll go into more detail later on in the podcast. I wasn't panic buying anymore. I started trusting my judgment, and yes, I am known to try and get the best and lowest price possible for items because, well, one, my local area, there's so many people that are buying games. We've got so many shops that are local to me, like we've got a CEX, we've got another local gaming shop, we've got people that are opening shops that have got retro gaming and trading card games and collectibles near me as well. That is why around here you have to get the best price, but yes, sometimes you do have to overpay to make a little bit of margin, but you still need the stock. And then as I was growing into this business, I then was asking fellow resellers for a name, and I came up with PlayEDgaming. So I thought, why not incorporate Ed into the name? And then I looked up, I researched, looked on companies' houses and saw that PlayEDgaming or PlayEDgaming, depends how you say it, was not being used. So I thought, right, let's have it. Let's use that. So I didn't really want to stay behind my old username, which I won't use now because it's irrelevant, absolutely irrelevant. But I wanted it to say, right, that is what we do. We played games. And that's how I would like it to go. I wanted to build trust with the community. So it's kind of, if you see that name, you know what you're going to get. And that's how I've kind of stuck with it. So I'm always approachable when it comes to doing deals. I'm not one to go, nope, not doing it. Nope. Just try and be as courteous as possible and make sure people feel like they're getting a good deal. I'm getting a good deal. And if there's profit to be made from both people, then great. Because I buy off of other resellers as well. As long as other resellers make a bit of money and I can make a bit of money, that's perfect, to be honest. And I wanted to open it up to not just gamers as well. So the parents, if they feel confident that their child is getting this as a good deal, it makes everyone feel, well, understood and trusted. And that's what I want this brand to stand for. And there's plenty of other bits that the resellers don't post. There's lots of hard parts of being a reseller, and there's many days where you don't get a sale. I've had some listings on my eBay that I delete, relist for God knows how long. Even starting them at a low auction price, and no one seems to even look at it. Yes, I know that's down to the eBay algorithm, and at the moment I haven't been listing, so there is that. I'm not going to be at the top of the list just because, well, I'm not going to be a sought after seller because I haven't listed for ages. One, because of my knee operation. Two, I'm being honest, I hate taking pictures. However, I will be speaking to a listing advisor this week, and hopefully will be able to help me and make it a lot easier for myself. And then there's also other life stresses. I still work full time, so some days I'm coming home and I am not going to sit there for 2 hours and take photos. I just want to sit down, eat my dinner, watch some telly, do bedtime with the kids, and then go to bed myself. So working full time, trying to do this as a side hustle, it takes its toll. That's the hard part. And honestly, if you've got a supportive family network around you or friends that help you, use them. Because I have had to use my other half this last few weeks to even help me get stock from the shed into the house to then sell it. So she understands, and it's very helpful that she does understand. So yeah, big up to the people that support us as resellers. And yeah, you're doing more work than what you actually realize, because there's the support network improves your mental health, and the mental health, if you've got good mental health, will then improve the sales because you're being more productive. If you've got a bad day, accept it. Right, today's not a good day, we'll start again tomorrow. Okay, I'm not going to go into more mental health things today, but I will just say once again, this reselling journey has helped me massively with this. It's given me an outlet. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that. And then keep looking out for the next few episodes, and I will be gaining a guest in a few weeks as well. So hopefully that'll be more interesting for you guys. So what I've learned since becoming a reseller is if I could go back and tell myself anything, I would tell myself this: start small. Buy decent stuff over a lot of stuff, which I learned massively. Bought a massive shop bundle and a lot of fodder. And don't rush it. I try to rush it. I still, in my own opinion, still am trying to rush it. And make sure you track everything. I'm trying, and I'm learning how to do this better. And also, listen to yourself. If you're tired, don't do it. If you have run out of money this week, wait. Don't get yourself into negative equity or debt just to chase that extra pound. I am guilty of it. I hold my hands up massively. I've overspent loads of times, and I've had to use a credit card to buy purchases, which isn't great, is it? If you haven't got the money in your actual bank account, don't use it. I'm not a full-time reseller. I don't need it. But the chase was there and I wanted it. So it's kind of like, well, that's not how business works. Don't get yourself into debt because you want the sales. Only spend with what you've got, which I am. Once again, mistakes have been made and I was learning and I still am. Okay? Don't worry if you haven't made the sales either. They will come. So, looking forward, it's still evolving. There's ideas that I'm going to be doing more markets. I'm going to be doing more content, obviously, with the podcast as well. I'm hoping to go out in the community, maybe a physical space one day. But at the moment, what I am working towards is clearing the stock that I've got, because I've got so much stock sat in the shed, a lot of stock worth a lot of money, and it's just sat there. So I need to get rid of that, because then I can start fresh and go, right, this is the route I want to go down. Okay. So keep an eye out for my journey. Keep an eye out for my next Whatnot show. Look on my eBay, look on my Vinted and other selling platforms. Look out for my Facebook page. There's a community one that I've made that just involves gamers and fellow resellers, just to get involved and talk about things, or even just share ideas, or you could even just sell me stuff on there. That's absolutely fine. So I'd like to say a massive thank you for listening through this episode. This is my longest one yet. If you're thinking of becoming a reseller or just curious, let me know your story, how you started. It isn't about just me talking. It's about us sharing experiences together. And thank you very much again for listening. And I shall catch you all in the next episode. Much appreciated. Take care, guys.